always said the mind can only absorb what the rear end can endure, correct? So we're going to bring you in for a landing. It's been a fantastic day. Would you guys agree? I get to talk about one of my favorite topics tonight, which is making money. Is anyone here interested in making money? Who's that from? That's a direct quote from somebody. JR! That is a direct quote from, that's how he started showing the plan every single time. And like Mark said, he said the same thing every single time. And, and he's like, JR was like, you finally got it, right? So we're going to talk about the plan. I have to just put some, Steve was over here. And I don't know if you heard what he said, but he showed the plan how many times? 47 times? And got no's. 48th time he got a yes, and then the guy quit. And I don't know, Tim, I don't know if I'd make it. Unbelievable. Okay. Guess who the first person I showed the plan to was? Have any idea? Ryan. Nope. I showed it to Frank Kiefer. Frank's my sponsor and mentor in the business. I sat him down in his house in Ellicott City, Maryland. I said, Frank, I want to show you the plan. And I sat him in his living room. I know he was bored to death. But I also know deep down he was fired up because he had somebody that was out wanting to duplicate right away. I hadn't even got my stuff in yet, but I knew I couldn't let my timing be dependent on his timing, which is the slide I had here in a second. But after I started showing the plan, I was showing, I hit executive coordinator in a month. Okay, so I got off to a pretty good start. By the beginning of my 11th month, I was cycling every single week. And so that first year, people say, what did you do? Now, this is almost 29 years ago. What did you do? I said, I was either on the phone making appointments, I was showing the plan at a home kickoff, at a second look, or I was at a meeting. And that's what I did. I had to build and grow from event to event, and obviously part of that is showing the plan. The plan, obviously, is an event. But I remember in the beginning, I'd have people that would come up to me at the end of the meeting, and they'd say, Andy, you sound just like Frank. Don't you want to be your own person? I was like, hell no. I want to make $500,000 a year. Like, Frank, I've always believed if you're going to be successful, find someone who's successful and do what they do. And why would you ever reinvent the wheel? One of my favorite audios that we had in the beginning, and I got to talk to Mark, hopefully he can put this on the back office, is how JR put a tape together called How to Show the Plan. And I burnt that puppy up. It was a great audio. He was doing a workshop, and what he did was he showed the plan, and as he showed the plan, he explained what he was doing and why he was doing it. It's one of the most powerful audios that we have. The most important thing you can learn to do if you want to be successful as a Market America franchise owner is you have to be able to show the plan. I know it's scary for some people. I want to tell you a story about Big Al. A lot of you know Big Al. He used to be the regional director. He was sponsored by Bonnie Gallagher. And in the beginning, Al wasn't showing the plan. Bonnie was showing the plan, and I was showing the plan because we're going to ABC pattern. Right? But eventually, it came time for Al to start showing the plan. Okay. I'll never forget the first, and some of you might have been at this meeting. It was the second look in Salisbury. Al had his note cards because I think it's important if you're new. Hey, I'm going to be using my note cards. If I mess up, don't laugh at me. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. So he had his note cards and he had a towel. I have never seen anybody sweat so much in my life. He was drenched. It wasn't like it was hot in the room or anything. He was just drenched. Al's background was, handing out basketballs in the prison. I mean, they used to call him Al the inmate's pal. That's his job at the prison was, athletics, and he was making all the schedules. He was sweating bullets, okay? And it took him a while not to get to that point, but I mean, probably third or fourth plan that he did, I'll never forget this. In the front row, he had his team up there, right? He had his team in the front row. Al's turned around with the marker, okay? Next thing I know, all these guys, they put on goggles. They put the goggles on because, sweat. Al turns around, and then he couldn't even hardly show the plan after that, but it was a fun story. Thought I'd share it with you. So let's talk about the plan. Person who shows the plan the most makes the most money. Period. The reason that Elizabeth Weber is the top earner in the company is because she showed the plan more than anybody else. Okay, but it's also important to understand, and probably more important, is the person that learns to pass the marker or the clicker has the best lifestyle. The business is all about what? Duplication. And you don't want your timing to be dependent on somebody else's time. If this is your business, you need to take ownership of your business. And it's critical if you're going to be successful. How do you get good at showing a plan? Well, how do you get good at anything? Practice, right? Practice. You can't practice enough. I love Frank's audio. It's the Frank and Ginger Kiefer story. If you haven't heard it, I'd recommend that you listen to this. If you haven't listened to it in a while, listen to it again. But there was in that audio, he talks about how he was going to show the plan 3 times a day, no matter what. Okay? And if he hadn't shown it 3 times before he went to bed, he said it before he said his prayers. Okay? I remember him saying, this is kind of funny, I shouldn't say this, but I think he says it on the audio. But he's like, not now, hon, I'm showing the plan. You know, Gingy wanted to snuggle. Not now, hon, I'm showing the plan. Okay. Take notes every single time that you see it. See it from as many different people as possible. I have the plan written out probably 150 times in a folder, in a filing cabinet at home. Because in the beginning, we didn't have PowerPoints. You had to know how to draw it out from scratch. Keep showing it. Repetition is the mother of skill. Al, in the beginning, wasn't real good at showing the plan, but you do something enough times, it's a 10,000 hour rule, right? You do something enough times, you're going to get good at it. Here's also something you need to understand. You cannot do the basic 5 if you can't show the plan. Why? You can't do the basic 5. Why? If you can't show the plan. Somebody tell me. There's no ABC pattern. You can't do the ABC pattern. You don't have any duplication. It's critical if you're going to be successful. And you need to understand the purpose and objective of showing the plan. What are we trying to do when we show the plan? Okay, what's the purpose of showing the plan?
Get a follow-up.
It was said earlier, booking a follow-up. The only reason to show the plan is to book the follow-up. There's no other reason to do it. Okay? The other thing is you want to handle objections. You want to answer objections. And JR talked about this in the How to Show the Plan tape. You want to answer the objections in the presentation. And when you get to the end of the presentation, there's nothing to object to. What are some of the common objections? I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't want to sell. It's a pyramid. It's a scam. It's a multi-level marketing. These are all the things that you have to overcome when you're showing the plan. I'm going to go through different slides in the presentation and show you what I do in terms of handling those specific objections. The other thing I think that's important is the setup to the plan. Okay, when you sit down with somebody, I show the plan the same way whether I'm showing it to one person or 100 people. Same enthusiasm, everything. For those that have seen me show the plan, I say it the exact same way, just like JR did every single time. I don't change anything. If it works, don't deviate. Does that make sense? So the setup of the plan, when I sit down with somebody, I say, hey, look, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I'm looking to expand my business. I'm looking for a business partner. This may or may not be for you. You won't know until you have a chance to evaluate what we're doing. Obviously, if you see something that you like, we'll set a time to get back together to get more information. If not, we'll get some referrals. Is that fair enough? And that's how I start the plan. What am I doing from the beginning? I'm setting the stage for booking the what? Follow-up if they see anything that they like. When I'm showing the plan, I need to make sure people have an open mind. Okay, so a lot of you have heard me do this at UBPs and home kickoffs, but I think it's critical. I have 2 difficulties in showing this business with new people. The first difficulty is that there's nothing out there to compare the unfranchised business to. There's nothing like it. We're a hybrid of many different marketing systems and business systems. The second thing is I tend to get pretty excited about it. And I don't want to sound like some huckster that's trying to twist your arm to get you involved in something that you're not interested in. All I'm going to do this evening is share some information with you. I want to present some facts to you. If any of it makes sense, please do yourself a favor and take this to the next level of investigation. Also do yourself a favor, Penny, and keep an open mind. You know, your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Everyone agree with that? Penny, can I ask you a question? Would you jump out of an airplane for $1 million without a parachute? I always pick somebody that's a guest in the audience and do this for them. Well, you know the answer, but that's okay. What would most people say? No. Why? Because most people think the airplane is where? It's in air. It's 2 or 3 miles in the air, and they're not going to survive the jump. But the plane, Penny, I want you to jump out of is this one. It's a single-engine Cessna. It's sitting on the ground. It's a 2-foot jump. Would you reconsider jumping out of an airplane for $1 million without a parachute now?
Yeah.
And everyone always says yes. I've only ever had one person say no to the second question, and I had to stop the meeting. I figured they weren't smart enough to figure that out, Penny. They weren't going to figure out the unfranchised business system. There was no way that was going to happen, okay? Look, if you can't explain, there's a moral of the story. The moral is you don't want to jump to fast conclusions until you have all the facts and you have all the information. Does that make sense? Because if you can't explain this business back to me the way I'm going to explain it to you this evening, I know you don't fully understand it. I hate to see someone make a decision about something they don't fully understand. These are all things I'm going to do what? To get them to see it. Again, the whole goal for me is to book the follow-up, okay? How is MA in the unfranchised unique and different? There's a lot of things that have been already talked about. I'm going to be kind of reviewing some things that Don talked about. But I think it's important that you understand the genesis of our company. Where did we come from? What makes us unique and different? You have to be able to explain this to people, okay? Think about this. How does any business start? It's an idea or a thought in somebody's head, correct? Okay? No different than JR. This company was a thought or an idea in JR's head. It was talked about earlier today, but what's the best form of advertising? Word of mouth. Why? You trust people you know. Okay, it's great for that. It's also good for the business because it's what? It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Has anybody in here ever recommended someone go to a movie or restaurant? Wouldn't it be nice if every time that you did that, the movie theater or the restaurant paid you a commission for the referral? Would you guys all like that? That was JR's brainchild, if you will. He wanted to get paid on the referral. He's like, how can I monetize this referral thread to infinity so that everybody can get paid? Because he took it a step further. He just didn't want to get paid for all the referrals, but he wanted everybody in the referral thread to be able to share in the referral because they led to the next person. Okay, you can't do it without dilution, obviously. Every product has a profit margin. If there's a $10 profit margin and you had 10 people that you shared $1 with, okay, everyone gets $1. But if you go 10,000 people, then you got like a tenth of a penny. It's not a lot. So he knew you couldn't do it with one referral thread. He figured out mathematically that you could do it if you had 2 referral threads. Finite and actuarial math. The plan is 25% actuarial and 75% finite. JR figured out how to pay the most amount of money on the least amount of volume and the least amount of sales organizations. And the key thing is that JR created the pay plan in the best interest of the people selling the product, not the manufacturer of the company. So much so that he put himself in as the very first unfranchised. Now, JR and Lauren had the very first center. Does that make sense? Okay. Here's the other thing. Nobody is going to be willing to cap their income like JR was. Okay, if you think about any other president or CEO of any company, they didn't cap their income. Now, JR capped his income in the marketing plan so that everybody could make money. Remember, the genesis is to do what? To get paid on the referral. Okay, he wanted everybody to share 100% to infinity. JR didn't take a salary for 3 or 4 years for being the president. He just got paid off as unfranchised just like everybody else. Now, don't feel bad for Lauren and Jerry, because they're obviously doing all right. Okay. They have a bunch of centers paying them a lot of money, and now they get paid for being president and CEO and founders of an incredible company, and they deserve every single solitary penny that they get. Okay, but I think it's important that everyone understand that JR capped his income so that everybody can make money. So there's a few things: product brokerage, horizontal versus vertical, which was covered, and then the GTSS. All these things were covered, so we're kind of wrapping everything up for the day. And obviously, if you're hearing something more than once, it might be a good indication that it's probably important. Okay? Product brokerage. This is critical. We don't make anything. We don't manufacture anything. We don't create some new lotion or potion or magic pill and go out and try to save the world with it. We just simply identify trends in the marketplace. We identify take-order type products. Products are in demand, products that people want. They're already buying. And we sign exclusive contracts with the very best manufacturers. We bring them into our unfranchised business system, make them available to our unfranchised owners and our customers. There's two things I really love about being a product broker. One, there's something there for everyone to move and for everyone to use. It doesn't limit your customer base or your business partner base. But more importantly, products have life cycles. Would everyone agree with that? What's hot today isn't necessarily going to be hot tomorrow. New technology is evolving very, very, very. Think about what we have today that we didn't have 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. What are we going to have 5 or 10 years from now? When was the last time anyone used a typewriter? When Smith Corona was $1 billion company at one point, but they didn't think they went out of business. Okay? It's pretty crazy. So we're always going to be on the cutting edge of technology. I think that's probably one of the most important cornerstones to our success. Here's the thing that you need to understand. All these other companies that come out, they have a product first. They make the pay plan in the best interest of the company or the manufacturer, not the people selling the product. Whereas JR created the pay plan first, and he made the pay plan in the best interest of the unfranchised owner, which he was the very first one. You can capture that. Okay. Horizontal versus vertical. There's 4 points you've got to get across when you're showing the plan. Buying searches to infinity, we get 100% credit. Buying the cruise for a 365-day revolving year. There's no end of month. Think about traditional sales. At the end of the month, if you don't hit your quota, what do? Do you get the bonus? No. You get a pat on the back and say, oh man, I'm sorry you missed the bonus this month. Tim, work a little harder next month. Maybe you're getting, Tim, I'm gonna make it happen, man. He goes out, he misses the quota a couple of months in a row. What happens to Tim? He gets fired. But Tim might be good, he's learning, right? So Tim starts hitting the quota. Well, guess what they do? They reward Tim by increasing the quota. Or they reduce the commission or the territory or a combination of all three. If he's really unlucky, they just fire him anyway. They can hire someone else to take over the accounts and pay him a lot less. It's harder to establish an account than to just maintain an account. Does that make sense? So to cruise for 365-day revolving year, IBB is a year and a half, we can assign BV. This is an incredible part of our compensation plan. For the first 90 days, when you sponsor somebody, you can put BV in their center. Once a quarter, we can assign whoever we want. We can change that. If you hit Master UFO, you get 2 assignments. This is an incredible setup where when you think about our structure in this vertical search to infinity, it's not a one-way street, okay, where just the people at the bottom are making everybody at the top rich. Okay, that's not how it works because it's a cap. Everyone understands that, right? But I can buy product for my shopping annuity or for my preferred customers, and I can take that buying and place it underneath of everybody in my organization. They get 100% credit for what I'm selling. That does not happen. Think about a real estate broker. If he sells a house, is he giving credit to all the other agents? No. He's taking all the money. I mean, it's incredible. Then we can obviously place people at the bottom. We can only build down the left or the right. The fourth thing is my favorite, and I'll kind of cover this multiple times, but this is the re-entry that we have. This is how we're like a franchise. There's a cap. You can only earn so much in one franchise. Does everyone agree? And one McDonald's is only going to sell so many Big Macs in a 24-hour period. If they want to make more money, what do they need to do? Open up another McDonald's. More franchise fees, more royalty fees. One thing's absolutely certain. What they sell in the second McDonald's doesn't pay them in the first. Anybody expanding a business into a new location, what they do in the second one doesn't pay them in the first. Okay, here, I max out at $109,000 to $187,000 a year in my original center. If I want to expand my income, I open up underneath my original business. So I'm increasing my income, but I'm securing my original income at the same time, and I'm paying all my business partners in between. It's phenomenal. I've never seen any organization structured like that. And I get paid multiple times on the same volume. Tim used to sell RVs. Wouldn't it have been nice, Tim, if every time you sold an RV, you got paid 3 times on it? These 4 points are what got me into business. Because I think it was said earlier, I didn't care what the product was. If they were good and people were going to reorder them, we were going to make a lot of money. We could have been selling horse manure If people are going to reorder, we can make a lot of money. And that's how JR designed the plan, right? He created the plan first, and we could put anything as long as it had profitability into it. So most people understand how the traditional horizontal organization works, right? The company set it up so that they have a sales rep. When the sales rep sells something, they get a commission, and so does the manager, but nobody else does. We got to get good at explaining this to people. If the manager wants to make more money, what do? They hire more sales reps. Well, you create this horizontal competition. It doesn't help anybody else in the organization, okay? When I was in college, I started selling a product called Cutco Cutlery. Is anybody familiar with Cutco? Some of you probably sold it. Best knives in the world, okay? No, Bart, I'm not here to sell any knives, okay? But my job in that business, and Tim ran a Cutco office as well, my job was to hire people faster than they quit. I would have 80 people one day, 10 the next. At the end of the year, I would have probably, hired probably 500 people over the year. I'd have 2 or 3 left. That was it. And it was all in competition. It was brutal. It was dog eat dog. But that's how traditional sales works. You might have a larger sales organization as well, and you can kind of equate this to how multi-level is structured. You might have a national sales manager, right? Then you have a division manager, a district manager, a branch manager. You might have 3 or 4 people eligible to earn commissions. The way multi-level works, they're all a little bit different, is that you get paid on multiple levels. That's why they call it multi-level marketing. We don't pay on levels, we don't pay on percentages, we don't pay on people. We pay strictly on the amount of volume that you generate. And the system's not time dependent, it's volume dependent, okay? So they get a different percentage depending on where it's at. The problem is they only pay 4 to 7 levels deep. Beyond the 4th level, you don't get paid anything. Well, my top earners in my business, I would get no credit for it. Because they would have been way below any pay level that I would have had. Okay, and what I love about the unfranchised business system is this vertical search to infinity. Everybody gets 100% credit, and you're capped. And it's just a function of time because people lead to people. You never know who's going to lead to who. Everybody's placed at the bottom, and you don't have to find a leader. That's incredible. Somebody can lead you to somebody, lead you to somebody, lead you to somebody, lead you to somebody, lead you to Billy Eisen. Okay? I mean, it's incredible. Think about that. Or Gigi, or Big Al. And I'm going to show some slides tomorrow in the APC pattern and show you where they're at in my organization, okay? But obviously it works because there's a cap. This is a great slide. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I've already kind of covered it. But when I understood this, I can't go up there. I wish it was closer. These 2 sales organizations, all I could think about when Frank showed this to me was if I could have put 250 people in one sales organization and 250 people in the other, and if everyone else got 100% credit for what everyone else sold, I'd have never lost a person. I'd have made millions of dollars with a product that lasted forever, let alone all the consumable products that we have in the unfranchised system. So let's talk about in the plan where you can cover specific objections and things that you want to really make sure you implement. We've talked about building from event to event. It's the single most important thing that we do. And it's amazing. I have people a lot say, Andy, I can't get people to events. I can't get people to meetings. Okay. I don't understand that concept because I wouldn't sponsor anybody in the business that didn't have a ticket to the next event. So how do we set this in motion in our organization if this is the culture you want to create? Starts right in the plan. Right here where it says standardized training systems. One of the things I loved about the business is that I knew I was going to be trained by the very best people with respect to building the unfranchised. Matter of fact, the next speaker we have coming into town, is real quick, is Don Martin. He's going to be going to train with phenomenal speaker. He used to be a roofer, and he's coming in to do our next local training. I pull the ticket out. If I'm sitting down with somebody, I have a folder. It's got all the tickets in it. I have a ticket for the next local, and I have a ticket for the next convention. You can do this also on the subscription page, where it says, unfranchised training and seminar system, coaching and mentoring by the most experienced unfranchised. And I spend the time to talk about this twice in the plan. I talk about the next speaker, the whole thing. Think about what we're doing. Frank talked about the advanced stuff. We use and share a product, we show the plan, we promote and attend events. Our only goal is to promote and attend events. And my job is to get the next person that I can to that event. And so I'm going to, when they're first exposed to the business, that's when they're going to learn about tickets. Here's another thing I do. When you look at how much we can make when you participate in the management performance compensation plan, you can earn up to $3,600 per week per business development. So that's $187,000 a year. I'll let you know right up front, you can't make that type of money unless you do something. There's no free lunch. Matter of fact, there's 5 things that you need in order to qualify to own an unfranchised. The first thing you need is 10 hours a week that you can devote to developing and building your business. The second thing is you need some capital. You need anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to capitalize your business. You'll recuperate that in the first 30 to 90 days by following our proven business plan. And that's the third thing is you have to be coachable. 4th thing is you have to be willing to take out-of-state training. And the 5th thing is you have to identify 2 good business partners. So these are things that I bring up in the plan. I don't want to sell. I don't like to sell. Did everybody get that objection? Everybody in this room is a salesperson. Does anybody here ever recommend someone go to a movie? Or go to a restaurant? You're selling. Anybody here married? You're the best salesperson in the world. You convinced somebody there was no one better on planet Earth than you. Till death do you part. You sold somebody something, Don. Probably wasn't what she thought she was buying. She hung in there, though. If you have kids, you're constantly selling, right? What do? We have to understand that we match people to product and product to people. How do you find out? Think about the textbook definition of selling. It's find a want or a need and fill it. How do you find out people want need? Just listen to them. If you talk to somebody for a few minutes, they'll start complaining. Man, I'm tired. My car doesn't run right. My plants don't grow. My dog stinks. I'm having a bad hair day. I got sinusitis, arthritis. My allergies are killing me. I got back problems, knee problems, tendonitis, bursitis, sinusitis. My mascara's running. Whatever the problem is, they'll tell you about it. We just offer the solution. Okay? So it's important that people understand that. We match people to product and product to people. I don't have the time. You got to talk about the leverage in the marketing plan. When you're in describing, you can do it wherever you want, okay? But if I have 10 people on the left and 10 people on the right putting in 10 hours a week, I'm leveraging how many hours?
100.
200, right? If I have 10 on the left and 10 on the right, that's 200 hours worth of leverage. Same thing with customers because we get 100% credit. So you got to understand it's not what they do that's going to produce the volume that's going to pay, but it's leveraging the system. I don't have the money, okay? When I get on this slide, I say, look, the company, one of the things I love about the company is they try to make this affordable for every single body to get started. JR didn't want to cut anybody out of being an entrepreneur. And so with a Fast Start Kit, it's $450, to get your business up and running. And I let people know, look, if you can't put your hands on $500 to $1,500 for whatever reason, fix your car, fix your air conditioner, whatever you're doing right now in the 45-year plan isn't working. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. I'm trying to hit people right between the eyes with a hammer. Think about that. If that, you can't even get one. I don't have my phone with me. A new phone will cost you how much? A ton of money, right? It's a scam, okay? Where do you cover that? 32 years. It still boggles my mind. For 32 years we've been here. How many scams last 32 years? Come on. How many partners do we have? How many people? They have thousands of partners. Do they have lawyers at their company? They're not going to partner with a scam. It's unbelievable. Make sure they go to the credible source with the Better Business Bureau. Don talked about this. You got to go. Anybody can write anything they want on the internet. Just doesn't mean it's true. It's like the bathroom wall, correct? How about it's a pyramid? I love this part. This is where I cover this. I get to the end of the presentation. I've done the reentry, and I go. I've explained how you can get paid multiple times on the same volume. And then they go, well, it looks like a pyramid to me, Andy. The guy at the top makes all the money. Okay. Well, that's how traditional business works. Think about how the president, in a normal corporation, you have the president, and you have the vice president, and you have the middleman, you have the guy at the bottom, down here, Kevin, he's sweeping the floor, so he'll never be president unless his last name is the same as the president. Very narrow as you climb up the proverbial corporate pyramid, okay? But I would call us the unpyramid. Why? Because JR and Lauren have the top center. What's the most they can make out of that center? They've done a good job explaining the plan to be able to tell you. $109,000 a year, that's it. That's all they can make out of that center. If they want to make more money, they have to re-enter just like everyone. There's a cap so that everybody can make money. That goes back to the genesis of the company. Here's the biggest question in the whole plan. Assuming the 45-year plan worked in the 2 to 3 year plan, which would you prefer? And have them answer the 2 to 3 year plan. Because there's no decision at the end. They've already decided. Okay, strengths of the MPC. I'm going to go through this quick. Product diversity. Volume search to infinity. Everybody gets 100% credit. You guys, this is just review. BB 365, IBB 548. There's no breakaways. Think about that. People in your organization start making money, and these other companies, they break them away, and then you got to replace them. That doesn't happen in the unfranchised. All the people in your business are with you forever. We get paid weekly. We can place volume, and we can place people. You can earn more than your senior business partners. You can own multiple business centers and have as much income as you want. Organizational expands in depth. Okay, common economic interest. It's willable. This is one of the most important things about this business. You can create a legacy that you can pass down. I look at I can't believe we're 32 years, but we've lost some incredible people, incredible mentors in our company. You know, from JR to Dennis to Pam and Tony Bowling to Genji Kiefer to Arlene Lowe. Even to Rick Hannon. It's unbelievable the amount of people that we love. But these guys have been able to pass on legacy to their family. It's willable. You can build two organizations, create incredible income. Expanding your income not only increases it, but it secures it at the same time. So some tips real quick, and I'm going to wrap up. Be yourself when you're showing a plan, okay? Build the business in the framework of your own personality. Be authentic, okay? You can't be Big Al. You can't be Triton Hodo. You be you, okay? Does that make sense? Enthusiasm. People can tell if you're excited. They know that. People buy you. They don't necessarily buy the plan in the beginning because they don't understand it. Know how to show the plan from scratch. See, in the beginning, we didn't have these PowerPoints. We didn't have all this stuff. You had to know the plan to be able to show the plan. That's not the case today. You can show the plan without even knowing how it works. So you got to get, I know I've talked to Drayton about this, but one of the things they do is they get everybody drawing it out. It's critical. When I show the plan, I'm drawing it out, okay? You want to own it. You want to make sure you memorize it. Have humor in the plan, okay? Don't go, good humor, not Jimmy Dwyer humor, okay? I'm going to pay for that, I know. Voice inflection, don't be monotone, and share your personal experience, okay? Get them to agree with you throughout the presentation. At the end, you're going to say, is there something we can do further? There's something we're looking to do further. They've already agreed, right? Does this make sense? I've done it as I'm doing the presentation. Wouldn't you agree? You get them to agree with you 1,000 times in the plan, they're going to agree to see the plan at the end. I'm going to wrap up with a story. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but there's a Harvard study in 1957 by Dr. Kurt Richter. He placed rats in a pool to test how long they could tread water. You want to see how long they could do that. So on average, due to exhaustion, they would sink and drown after about 15 minutes. Okay. However, right before they gave up up due to exhaustion, the researchers will pluck them out, dry them off, and let them rest for a few minutes, and then put them back in for round 2. On the second try, Jimmy, how long do you think they lasted? Remember, they had just swum to failure only a few minutes ago. Okay, so how long do you think they made it? Somebody give me some. How many minutes you think? 15 minutes? Somebody an hour? 10 minutes? 30 minutes? Anybody more than an hour? You guys are all wrong. 60! What? 2.5 days. What? They swam for 60 hours. Okay? What? Why? How's that possible? The conclusion drawn was that since the rats believed that they would be rescued, they could push through their bodies way past what they previously thought was impossible. 60 hours, okay? If an unstoppable belief can cause exhausted rats to swim for over 60 hours, what could a belief in yourself and your capabilities do for you? If you knew you couldn't fail, what could you do? What could you do? Remember why you're here and why you started the business. Keep showing the plan and never ever give up.
Andy Webb, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Webb. You know, I promise you that Andy could talk about the plan all night, and he almost did. All right. We're going to wrap up with a couple announcements, and then we'll turn you loose in Ocean City, Maryland. The next local coming up is in the greater Philadelphia area with Tammy U. You get your tickets to that. Make sure you see you get out for that. Here's a slide for that right here. July 13th. I know we passed trash bags around, but please inspect your area. A couple of things for tonight. Immediately following this, our challenge reception is in room 209 upstairs, and if you are a Premier Access VIP, you get your 3. They're going to have an opportunity for you outside of 209 for a meet and greet with Mark, so make sure you're there. A bonfire tonight at the beach at A Shores, which is about 3 miles up the road. That's from 9 to 11:30. That was a big hit last year. I hope you'll come out to do that. Tomorrow morning, the doors open up at 8:45. We start at 9:30 sharp, and our first speaker, right out of the chute, is going to be the absolute